Ambassador Alan Baker, who's director of the Institute for Contemporary Affairs at the Jerusalem Centre and head of the Global Law Forum in Israel. How do you think that nations, including the United Kingdom, who are signatories to the ICC, should respond to this? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Look, in view of the fact that the arrest warrants issued by the International Criminal Court lack legality because they were issued in violation of the statute, because there's no such thing as a Palestinian state, and even the United Kingdom doesn't acknowledge the fact that there exists a Palestinian state, and therefore no such state can give the International Criminal Court jurisdiction to issue arrest warrants. So the arrest warrants are ultra vires the statute of the International Criminal Court, and therefore the United Kingdom should ignore them, as should all the other countries, because they're undermining the integrity and credibility of the statute of the International Criminal Court.
This is the first time a democratically elected country, the leader of, has been treated in this fashion. How damaging is it for the global reputation of Israel?
Well, look, Israel has never been particularly popular, not merely because of the fact that it has to defend itself, but for other reasons, which we're all fully aware of. So I don't think this adds or subtracts from Israel's popularity, but that's not the issue here. The issue here is that Israel needs to defend itself against pure terrorists that don't believe in norms of international justice and international law and human rights.
But Mr. Ambassador, why does the defence include, unfortunately, the killing of innocent women and children?
Well, you really think that Israel gets up in the morning and says, "Oh, let's go and kill a few women and children"? This is absurd to claim that, and the previous speaker, Ambassador Ford, really doesn't understand what he's talking about. If women and children are affected, that's because Hamas have been using hospitals as bases for their storage of missiles and headquarters, and that automatically enables any state fighting terrorists to consider such places as legitimate targets.
And lastly, Mr. Ambassador, if you would address one claim from my other contributor that there's been deliberately withholding of anaesthetics or anaesthesia. Do you comment on that?
No, absolutely not. No such thing. If anaesthetics have been withheld, that's because Hamas haven't allowed these anaesthetics to come in.
I'm grateful for your time, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you. Alan Baker, you're Director of the Institute for Contemporary Affairs at the Jerusalem Centre and Head of the Global Law Forum in Israel. Chris is in Richmond. Good day, Chris. Your view?
Good day. Well, very well yourself. I mean, look, at the end of the day, what started on the 7th of October was Hamas. They were the ones that started all this. And I've been to Israel myself and I have a lot of sympathy for the Israeli people. Let's start with that. What I will say is that what Netanyahu has done has to be categorised as a war crime. Forced displacement of thousands and thousands of people at a minute's notice, right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Aid, no, let me finish.
I'm listening.
Targeting aid convoys, Nick. Those are surely crimes of war, are they not?
I don't know that there has been bombing of aid convoys. I don't know. If they wanted to, as I've said before, they would have blitzed every single aid convoy, and it would be nothing more than a rather rough car park in Gaza.
But Nick, they're not even letting the aid convoys in, which is another problem.
No. On some instances, it's been Hamas that have not let them in, or indeed they've simply thieved the stuff as it's come across the border. Now, both parties emerged with terrible discredit here, but are you honestly suggesting that a democratically elected government and a prime minister like that is guilty of war crime? How else is he to defend his country?
Well, but hang on.
No, do answer that. How else is he to defend Israel?
Justify to me the forced displacement at a minute's notice of tens of thousands of people where they have no...
Because you just asked me a question and then you went, because you know that the terrorists hide in and among the general population.
So why not just wipe out all of Gaza, destroy every single building in the place and kill
because
everything?
In some instances...
That is the end game, Nick.
All right, you have asked me a question. In some instances, IDF personnel have been injured or they've lost their lives because they don't do that, to use your expression, carpet bombing. That if they wanted to, that there wouldn't be a mouse alive in Gaza now.
But
Nick, see? And my question now, please answer mine. How is Israel to defend itself?
Right. At the end of the day, right? They have been using for many years. They use anti-tank missiles, etc. And hang on, let me finish, please. I have been there myself. They have
well, so have I. That doesn't qualify as either of us as an expert just because we've been
there. But
there.
they have very robust. Right, they have very robust systems to defend themselves. All right. The point is, Gaza has been reduced to rubble, and members of the Israeli government have basically said that their aim is to basically destroy what's left of Gaza.
Well, no, when did they say that? No. No, that's simply not true, is it? Their aim is to finish off Hamas there and then to have some kind of deal by which Gazans can get back to some normality of life. They've never said they want the whole of Gaza destroyed.
But Nick, how are you going to do that?
You've still not answered my question. How are they to
you
defend
haven't answered mine, Nick. Nick, what is the end game? At what point do you decide that Hamas is finished?
I've just told you, when the last Hamas terrorist has been eliminated or arrested, then that is when you can return Gaza. And bear in mind, it is Hamas who control Gaza, and Gaza has for more than 10 years been under their control. That's when you can move on.
Hi, Nick. Sorry, I wanted to make 3 points very quickly, and I've got no skin in the game. I've got very close Orthodox friends and Palestinians and Christians and Muslims and so on and so forth. So my first point is, if someone was to punch you, Nick, you have every right to punch them back to defend yourself. If you don't then go and get 50 people, and those 50 people and yourself are battering this one person, it's no longer defence, is it? It's you actually become the aggressor. That's my first point. Okay. My second point is, I live near Stamford Hill. I have many Orthodox Hasidic Jewish friends who are massively against what Israel are doing.
Of course.
They are the most visible Jewish people, and no one seems to be giving them a voice. No one seems to be hearing them. They're being forced into war. They do not support what Israel's doing. However, no one seems to want them to talk. That's my second point. My third point is...
The benefit for them will be, as and when elections come round, if they're still Israeli citizens, they will have a vote in a democracy, which will never, ever happen in Gaza.
Well, elections is out of this now because prior to the 7th of October, more than 500,000 Israeli people were marching against Netanyahu.
Doesn't that tell you everything about Israel? Can you imagine saying that about Gaza?
But no one listened. No one listened to them.
Well,
anyway, my third point. Moving on to my third point. There have been multiple instances, and this is not Palestinian propaganda. It can be Googled very easily and seen with them saying it. Mm-hmm. Israeli politicians have said that they have the right to rape prisoners, Palestinian prisoners. I
just don't believe.
You can go and have a look. Okay,
all right, because it's on Google, where 2 years ago the most viewed image was the cat that looked like Hitler. I'm not going to get my news from there. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Not necessarily just Google. These are politicians that are Israeli, where you can see them talking. You are privy to go and have a look at that. Quickly, let me add on to that.
Well, no, because we're already late to the news. I'll give one more point, because I must get to the news. We're late already.
One more point.
Please,
and they have also said all Palestinians should be exterminated. Israeli politicians.
Okay, thank you. I don't believe it. I appreciate that you do, and I'm grateful, and I respect your stance. But I think the idea of Israeli politicians saying that you can use rape as a legitimate... I just don't buy it. And wherever you've seen it on this extraordinary world of social media, where you can get all sorts of stories, you just have to look at some of the lines that were coming out at the recent US elections. I don't see that as a source of news. You want to go with journalists who've actually had some form of training.